what's your avatar when it comes to who's your ideal client? Well, I don't really believe in avatars. I believe in problems and the problems that you solve that your ideal client will 100% identify with. When you're starting out, your ideal client is you because you know how to solve your own problem because you have already. Having ADHD is not a deficit, but it's an explanation for why some things are tougher than other things. Yeah, my name is Michael Dickey. I am owner of Flow State Executive Coaching. I am a business coach for entrepreneurs with ADHD. Um, I help entrepreneurs with ADHD really figure out first and foremost, what they should be doing with their time and their mental energy that is exciting for them, that is fun, that they know how to do, that they love doing it. They're helping people, that is in alignment with their purpose, and really help gets them to be productive in the things that they focus on. Because a lot of times especially when you have ADHD, that you focus on the things that are fun because that kind of drives that dopamine, but then you ignore the things that are not very fun. But they still have to get done. So with my system, I help them identify specifically what they need to be doing that is in alignment with all of those things and kind of why they got into business in the first place, and then come up with strategies on how they can get the other things done that are important, but they should not be on their plate.
Got it. So how did you end up falling into this niche?
My background is actually in sports medicine and physical therapy. That's what I went to school for. And my wife is been in finance, and we met in college, and she's always been in finance, and turned out to be, after being a financial advisor, was a financial coach. She was kind of an OG financial coach 15 or so years ago. And I was her first client in college, actually. But when our daughter was born, I kind of realized that I was at the ceiling of being in sports medicine and physical therapy. And I said, you know what? Her business was booming, but it was just her and like a part-time assistant. I said, I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad with our daughter and help you do it all behind the scenes stuff. And it just kind of naturally flowed into that. But I realized at that time that I was really thriving in my old job as an athletic trainer, working with 30, 40 patients a day, uh, bouncing around all over the place. But when I had to sit and focus on one thing and work on one thing and do all these things that I wasn't really good at, but I thought, well, I'm smart and I should be able to do these things. I was failing. And so that's kind of where my journey kind of started. And from there, my wife and I created programs that trained people to become financial coaches. We created our own course uh, because nobody had done that at the time. And so that's kind of where I kind of got my milk teeth into being a business coach. I'm a certified Colby consultant, and I've been doing that since 2019. And we had a business coach that helped me, and we got our results. And that was the first light bulb that I have, like, oh yeah, these are why I thrive in some things and did not do very well on other things and failed and felt frustrated with other things. And it was because of where my mental energy was and how I problem solved. And that was so valuable that I use that as a coaching tool for people that want to become financial coaches. And it was so valuable to them. I got diagnosed with adult ADHD last year, and I was like, well, I got to put these two together because I know there are some people that have ADHD that need a business coach, and they need someone that has ADHD, but also it's all about your mental energy and finding the things that you love to do and that excite you and give you mental energy. Because if you don't know about ADHD, if something is not even the slightest bit interesting, it's a hard pass.
Mm.
And that's when businesses with entrepreneurs with ADHD start to kind of go down and don't really see that trajectory that we want to see of growth, is that they're doing all of the things and nobody can do all of the things for a long time, especially when you have ADHD.
Got it. Well, I love that you paired your personal experience, Mike, to build out this program. I love it. I mean, oftentimes that's
Thank
where
you.
people find that specialty. It's like, hey, I have this. I worked through this.
Yeah.
I know this intimately. I know where to find these people. I know what kind of problems they have. I know how to solve these things. So that's great.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
and that's, and
yeah,
I'll add something, and maybe, um, I think before you get too far, I just go into this, but one thing that I coach my clients on about finding your niche is really that when you're starting out, your ideal client is you, because you know how to solve your own problem because you have already. And so some people are like, well, I haven't helped 1,000 people yet, and I don't have all the certifications yet, and I haven't taken all the courses yet. But if your ideal client in your niche is you, thinking about the transformation that you've made from a job 9 to 5 into a new role as a coach or something like that, and as a financial coach, people have gotten them, used a system and gotten really good financially. Well, you know how to help people that are those 5 steps that you took behind you. So that's always a great place to start because that eliminates the imposter syndrome. If you're helping everybody and you're like, I just want to help everybody do this one thing. Well, not everybody is your ideal client. So it's really about knowing what you can do and the problems that you solve rather than, some people say like, oh, what's your avatar? What's your avatar when it comes to who's your ideal client? Well, I don't really believe in avatars. I believe in problems and the problems that you solve that your ideal client will 100% identify with. If you're saying, well, these are the problems that I solve and here's the solutions that I provide, and when you have these problems solved, this is what you're going to feel on the other end of my program. That's more than, well, I help men that are dads that are in this profession and they have this many kids and they're like that doesn't resonate with people because that's me, but that's like I don't have that problem. So
mm,
I think that I like to think about the problems first rather than an avatar.
sure. That makes a lot of sense. I love that. All right. So talk to me about building out your first coaching program. How'd you design it? How'd you launch it? How'd you improve it? Talk to me about how that went.
So with my first coaching program, I really just used Alex Hermosi's $100 million offer book. That's a great resource. It's a free audio book on his podcast. You can just listen to it, and it's simple because it takes you through the whole thought process. And all you have to do is listen and do the exercises that he gives you. But really, and I've taken this into my own coaching program, but basically thinking about what you're offering as a coach as a package. It's not hourly because that makes you a commodity when you're thinking about hourly. And if your hourly rate is $150 or $250 or whatever that is, people are thinking, well, my personal trainer only charges me $30 an hour or 60. You're way more expensive than that. They start to make you a commodity. But when you're thinking about a value-based package, that is where people are like, you think of here's what's included for this one price. Here is everything that you're going to get. And you load that up with so much value that people are think I have to be stupid to not take this up because look at all this that I'm getting for this price. And it's a one-time price, and everything that's included is solving their problems, and it's specifically created to do that. So you think about everything that you have to offer. Think about the uh, the process that a person goes through from here, starting at point A. What are what are the problems? Where are they at? What is stopping them from achieving their goal on this step Z? And you think about, well, I have this that can solve that, and I have this step that can solve that. I have all of these things, these tools that I can offer, these solutions that I can offer that solve that, but also thinking about, well, what are their objections? Somebody says, well, this is going to be way too hard. Well, then you have to come up with, well, what solutions can I provide to make it not hard? And so now they have no objections because you've provided the solutions to that. So some of those solutions could be technology based. Some of them could be resources that you have to provide. Some of them are individual coaching sessions. Whatever that is, you're brainstorming with yourself about all of the solutions that you could provide to one, solve the problem, but also eliminate objections. So that's really what I did. And it's evolved since then. And first it's a 6 month coaching program for one set price. It includes resources, when I started, it was once a month coaching, but now it's twice a month because I didn't increase my price at all, just because I just want to add that much more value back into it. It also includes um, unlimited WhatsApp communication. This is what I'm using right now, um, because I want somebody to be able to have like on the fly, be able to communicate with me and not have to wait until their next session. So there's lots of things that you can add into a package that you want to think about and that I thought about of how can I eliminate objections, but also solve lots of problems that people are having.
Got it. And so when you first started, how did you find your first batch of folks? Yeah, you transitioned into your own program? How did you find them? How did you go about with that transition?
When I first started, I first got my first clients. Let me start that over again. When I first got my when I first started my business and got my first clients, I wanted to launch a beta program, really, and that was to get people in the door. I had a package created already, and I just discounted it significantly to for 5 people. And I said, I'm going to be offering this. This is what the value is. This is, and which is tens of thousands of dollars. This is what the actual cost is, which is a couple $1,000s, not too bad. And then here's what I'm offering, which is half of that to get people in the door. One, that allows you to get feedback. And going in, when you're starting and you're offering this beta type of program, you want to use it and be upfront, be like, this is so that I'm going to use you to test my systems, to get feedback from you, to get some testimonials. So upfront, your first clients know that yeah, you're getting coaching, you're getting a great deal, but in return, I'm just asking for some help on making my program better for people in the future. So I offered that, and really it was I just used some Facebook groups that I was in,
Mhm.
and some connections, and put some posts out there saying that I'm offering this beta program. Pretty much everything that I've already said, I put in the post, and people would say, I'm interested. Or actually, people shared that with their own friends or family or clients that they knew that I could help solve their problems as well. And so that's again being very specific about who your niche is and the problems that you solve from Jump Street is going to help you get those ideal clients when you first start.
Got it. And since then, how have you attracted or retained your clients? Or and
Yeah, so when as I've been growing and maintaining my clients by continually, really word of mouth is honestly my best source of referrals. I get some from Instagram, I get a couple uh, uh, from lead magnets, but really it's the word of mouth because and referral partners. And there's something to be said about using social media and Instagram or whatever social media is your jam right now. But the hard part about that is that for me, especially as you're starting out, that becomes a full-time job in and of itself. That you're doing so much time doing social media that to keep up with the algorithm that you aren't spending time doing the other important things, which could include creating more programming, training yourself, building referral relationships. And referral relationships are super important because if you find that person that is in front of your ideal client all the time, then and you think about who those people are. So if you're a financial coach, well, financial advisors are in front of my ideal client all the time, or bankers, or therapists, or couples therapists, or whoever are in front of my ideal client all the time. And you start to reach out to those people, and that you know that, and you help them understand how much you can help their clients and who your ideal client is. All they have to do is, you know what, I'm gonna refer you to Mike because he is helping you exactly helping people with exactly your problems that you have. And that just hearing that from some person that is a professional and that they know, like, and trust already just adds to that know, like, and trust value. Whereas social media, people are consuming and consuming and consuming. And, I'm not sure what the statistics are about how many engagements it takes nowadays of social media to get a lead, but not anywhere near as high as using a referral partner. So that is what I'm doing, and trying to build those relationships, and using other coaches. And that's the great thing about having a growth mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. That's when I just met with a whole bunch of other ADHD coaches. And we all have our own niche, and we're not competing with each other, which is great because if you have your niche dialed in, then there's no need to worry about other people taking your clients, because I'm the only person that can solve my ideal client's problems. And that's the way that it should be.
Got it. And so the way you build up these referral networks is primarily through events and cold outreach, through email, phone.
It's yeah, when I'm building these outreach referral networks, it's a little bit of everything. It is some cold outreach. And yeah, one thing, it's we learn from our failures too. I like to fail forward. And so I had this idea, well, obviously, I have to reach out to psychiatrists because they're dealing with ADHD people all the time. Well, that's a great idea in theory, but the problem with any medical field, and I know this working in physical therapy for 15 years, is that doctors specifically have gatekeepers, and they don't like to be reached out to directly. And that is a game that I just don't want to play, honestly. So I'd rather build through other coaches, other professionals that I have a mutual respect for, and know that I can be a referral source for them as well. So I'm going to keep coming back to psychiatrists because I think that that is something that a market that I want to tap into, but I just have to find a better way to get in there. Um, and really, what my next steps are going to be are uh, asking people for an introduction to their psychiatrist.
Sure.
So again, it's that know, like, and trust of I'm not just cold calling. I'm not just dropping off a business card at a doctor's office. I'm saying, hey, if you have a psychiatrist, I'd love for you to introduce me. Boom, I'm already in. So I think that that is why the power of a referral network, kind of thinking outside of the box of how can I have other people help me and I help them in return.
Love it. All right. So what about, I mean, let's move on to the next question, which is like, how's the business doing today? Talk to me about what the future might look like, future programs. Are you profitable these days? Talk to me about any specifics you got.
Yeah, this will be a little asterisk on this one, Dave. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be, but and I'll just full transparency, like I am working under the umbrella of our other business. So I have the luxury of not having to, because I'm still doing lots of stuff for that business.
Sure.
I'm growing this organically and slowly as best I can. So there's no need for me to work urgently. But I'm trying to figure out what a good client load would be for me.
Hmm.
I'm thinking uh, like I'm at like 6 active right now, and I could probably go up to 8 with my current caseload. I'm also like, I have 2 small kids. I'm their football coach. I'm doing a lot of other things. So right now I'm comfortable, and also riding my wife's coattails. That's a good place to be. So I don't know if I have a lot to speak to this point specifically.
Well, that's okay, man. Not a problem.
Okay.
So, talk to me about maybe what you want to do in the future,
Yeah,
as you build this thing up.
sure. So if I were to think about kind of where I want to be in 5 years, I really would like to. I see myself as being a leader in driving innovation with uh, kind of merging ADHD, entrepreneurship, and this. What is what is flow mean to someone? What does working in that mean? And my business is flow state executive coaching, and I named that on purpose because when someone is working in their flow state, when you're like, man, I did that, I'd like work for 3 hours, but it felt like 15 minutes. That was so fun. I was so productive. This is why I started in this business. If you can do those things, and if you've ever heard of the 80/20 rule, it's like the 20% of your results, I'm sorry, 20% of your efforts cause 80% of your results, right? So if you can figure out what that 20% is for you, that is what flow state is. And that is when you're productive. And especially for someone that has ADHD, if you can lean into that, and then the other 80% is just a strategy and how to get those things done, but they're probably not that important for you to do anyways, because that is not your most efficient use of your time and a good ROI on you doing those things, then everything is going to be gravy, and you're not going to be kind of in this plateau. So I'm doing some research into using the Kolbe assessment with people with ADHD, and what is the correlation between mental energy capacity and problem solving and ADHD. And then there's some really interesting initial research that's coming out of that. And so kind of using that as the Kolbe assessments as a tool for people with ADHD to realize that having ADHD is not a deficit, in that it is, everybody has powers, everybody has strengths, and nobody can do everything. And having ADHD does not uh, excuse our past failures, even though we fail forward. I hope that everybody kind of has that mindset that we fail forward. But it's an explanation for why some things are tougher than other things. But it's the same for everybody. It's this universal rule of mental energy. And if we can harness our mental energy, then we can um, do exactly what we love to do, and drives us. So I want to be doing that. I want to have a client load that is tolerable for the time that I do have. I have a family, I have kids, I support my wife's business as well. So kind of finding all of those things and where that intersects is where I want to be.
Got it. Any different programs you'd like to release or develop in the future?
There are probably some initial thoughts of additional programs that I do want to launch. I would like to do a course, and that's kind of the thing that I'm working on in the background right now, is a course about how to set goals and
Hmm.
how to uh, plan your year out and be really specifically for people with ADHD, but it's great for all small business owners and entrepreneurs. So working through that. And I would love to be, honestly, to be a speaker and be like someone that is known to talk about kind of where all of my interests intersect.
Love it. Love it. All right. Well, talk to me about by through starting this business, what are some of the things you've learned? Something that's helpful for a young coach or somebody trying to transition.
Yeah, so some things that I think I've learned in my career as a coach and kind of building this business and building another business with my wife is that first, that really honoring yourself and setting boundaries is really important. And one example of that is that some of my beta clients, some of my initial clients were not my ideal client. And I had a business coach that she would say that there are champagne clients, which is like your absolute ideal client. There's wine clients who are, yeah, they're okay, but they're still not ideal. And then there's beer clients. And no shade to beer lovers anywhere, or wine lovers, but for celebrating, you want a champagne, you don't want beer, I guess. And so I took a couple wine/beer clients, not champagne clients. And for me, it's really about, especially being a coach, and like who you're thinking about is an ideal client for you. Think about the problems that you can solve and that they have specifically, but also thinking about like, what is it going to take for someone to complete your course? What do they need to have in here and in here? And for me, there are a couple clients that I can think of that they didn't want to do the work, in all honesty. And I've changed my screening process to accommodate for that. But some people just want you to wave a wand, and then their problems are all solved. And we know that as a coach, that is not how it works. There's work that they have to do. Self-awareness for clients is also really important. Coachability, being coachable is super important. And that is why I would say that your discovery session, which is you're having an initial call with a client or a prospective client, I should say, that you have a list of questions and information that you want to get to make sure that they're a good fit for you and that they're that vice versa, right? So it's not just that, yes, they're going to be a good client because they have a couple things that you're checking off that seem to line up with what you can do, but it's like, are they coachable? Are they going to be successful? Because you want your clients to be as successful as possible, because then that is just a gold star for you. Use that for marketing purposes and feedback and all those type of things. So making sure that you have a really good, I like to call it like a velvet rope system of keeping the beer and wine clients out as best you can and working only with champagne clients as best that you can.
Got it. Love that. All right. So moving on to the next question, Mike, what tools do you use? What platform, software, other resources that you use for your business?
So some of the platforms that I'm currently using, as far as the CRM goes, I use ActiveCampaign. And that is, it's a great resource, but it's very robust. And it's just what we've used in the past, so I was comfortable with that. If I had to go back, I would probably start with something that is a little bit more user friendly. But it's great. So that is always something that I recommend is a CRM of some kind. Uh, so thinking about how am I automating things? How am I going to be reaching out to my clients and prospects? How am I keeping track of their journey? I'm using, let's see, I'm a Gmail, I'm a G Suite guy, so I do like all of their stuff, but I also like Gemini, their AI. Um, I use ChatGPT as well, just to kind of contrast and compare, but I like to use that. And uh, AI is such a game changer for a lot of different reasons, especially when you're having blocks in content creation or you just want to brainstorm with someone, but you don't have anybody. Uh, but also as a tool. And I like to create prompts for my clients that all they have. And one that's really cool that I just created was on how someone can use ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI to prioritize their weekly tasks and then also time block them. And for somebody that has ADHD, that is always a problem. Like, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know when I'm going to do this. I don't time block. But then when the AI can just say, take you through a couple questions, and then it says, okay, this is when you're doing this. This is when you're doing this. And it's going to take this long. And it's this priority. It's like, wow, that would take me a week to do. And it took AI 30 seconds. So AI is very cool. What else? Obviously, Gmail. I use Traft for my scheduling which has worked out very, very well for me. It integrates pretty well with Google and all of the other programs that I'm using. So that's another thing is that making sure that all of your software can communicate as natively as possible. What else? As far as integrating, I do use Zapier for those things that don't have native integration. Zapier is really great for that type of thing. Project management, I use Asana for projects, and I to piggyback on that, I really like to use TickTick as it's a task management. It's like a Todoist. If anybody's familiar with Todoist, but I use it for goal setting. I use it for daily tasks, but also it's a great tool for people with ADHD because one of the things that happens when you have ADHD is you have like a million ideas of all the things that you want to do or that you're told to do or that your wife tells you to do. And you say, I'm going to remember that. And then do you remember it? No, you never remember it. So it's a second electronic brain that helps you keep track of things, but that you can organize them and set it by due date. It has a great prioritization tool. So it's a great tool that I use for task management and for goal setting.
Love it. All right.
Anything else on there?
And any specific books or podcasts that you follow that you found to be really helpful as you know, go through the journey of building out your business?
There are a couple of books that I recommend for all small business owners, but especially coaches that are building their brand. Donald Miller, anything by him, he does story brand. I love anything that he does, especially for marketing. Alex Hormozy, his $100 million leads, $100 million offers are great books that he gives for free. And it's about building your package, building your first offer, and then also from that building lead magnets that are in line with your ideal clients, etc. Anything by Dan Sullivan, who is the founder of Strategic Coach, which is a entrepreneurial coaching program. But he just has such a great, very in alignment with everything that I do, and I didn't know about him until after I started to uh, basically do everything that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, he's very similar. Like we're very parallel souls, or whatever that saying is, of like we're finding the same thing. And so I really like anything for him to use on your business. Anything by Gino Wickman, who is the founder of EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System. Those are probably the books. Anything by any of those guys would be really, really good.
Amazing.
I think that's
Cool.
all I have. Yeah.
That's quite a bit. I love it.
Yeah. Good. Thanks.
All right. So one piece of advice or a piece of advice for coaches that are just getting started. If you feel like that's redundant, we can move on to the last one, which is like, where do you want to are working with earn more?
Let's see.
Because you did give us some advice earlier. So it's
Yeah, I probably is pretty redundant. I don't think there's
all right.
anything.
We're about 5 minutes left on this timer anyway. I should upgrade.
Okay.
Go ahead and walk us through where we can learn more about your business.
So if you want to know more about me, you can check out my website. It's flowstateexecutivecoaching.com. My Instagram is at flowstateexecutivecoaching. And on my website, you can sign up for emails, but also I do a free annual goal setting and annual planning strategy workshop for CEOs, um, which is really great. Basically, set up your year for success by setting goals and planning and kind of working through the process that works, especially for people with ADHD, because that's kind of a hard thing. Of goal setting is really hard for people with ADHD. And really, that's where I like to be. I am I'm an Oregon Trail generation type of person. If you never heard of that, it's the year between the end of X Generation X and the Millennials. I'm like right smack dab in the middle. And so I like technology, but I'm also not like super technology either, and social media type of a person. So I really like more face-to-face interaction. So you can get my email on my website, and Instagram is where I like to be.